Hi everyone, in this video we are going to see how we can convert the sum of two trigonometric ratios into the product of two trigonometric ratios. And also we will see how we can convert the difference of two trigonometric ratios into a product of two trigonometric ratios. In previous videos we have already discussed that sine of a plus b. So we are going to start with sine of a plus b and sine of a minus b. Let's first try that and see what happens. We know that sine of a plus b can be written as sine of a times cosine of b plus cosine of a times sine of b, and if we take sine of a minus b, that can be written as sine of a times cosine of b minus cosine of a times sine of b. And now if we add them together, we are adding on both sides. So what do we get? Well, on the left hand side we will have sine of a plus b plus sine of a minus b, and then on the right hand side what will happen? These two terms will cancel each other and we will be left with 2 times sine of a times cosine of b. So here we are starting to see that we have sum of two trigonometric ratios on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have a product of two trigonometric ratios. So this is looking like kind of what we are trying to derive here, right? We are trying to convert the sum of two trigonometric ratios into product of two trigonometric ratios. So we are almost there. Now what we need to do, let's assume that this is equal to c, right here, the a plus b. So we are going to assume that a plus b is equal to c and a minus b is equal to d. Then we can say, well, then this is going to look like sine of c plus sine of d, and then on the right hand side we have 2 times sine of something. So now if we want to express it in terms of c and d, so this will be sine of something times cosine of something. And now let's do a quick little algebra here. So if we have a plus b is equal to c and a minus b is equal to d, and if we add them we get 2 times a equal to c plus d, and from here we get a equals c plus d over 2. And similarly if we would subtract those two equations, then we will get 2 times b. So by doing a subtraction we will get 2 times b equals c minus d, and from here we will get b equals c minus d over 2. So now we have found our values. So this will be then 2 times sine of a in place of a, in place of this a right here, I am going to use this value, and then for b, in place of b, I am going to use this value. Alright, let's try that. So that would be 2 times sine of c plus d over 2 times cosine of c minus d over 2. And that's exactly what we are trying to derive. And following the same method, we can also easily derive the value of sine of c minus sine of d. So far we have derived the value of sine of c plus sine of d, and we can also derive the value of sine of c minus sine of d. How we can do that? Well, instead of adding the sine a plus b and sine a minus b, if we subtract the sine of a minus b from sine of a plus b, then we will be able to find out sine of c minus sine of d, and it's going to look like this. So let's quickly derive that also. So what we are going to do, we are going to say sine of a plus b is equal to sine of a times cosine of b plus cosine of a times sine of b, and also sine of a minus b can be written as sine of a times cosine of b minus cosine of a times sine of b. And this time we are going to subtract the second one from the first one, and if we subtract them, then what are you going to get? On the left hand side it would be sine of a plus b minus sine of a minus b, and on the right hand side this will become minus and this will become plus, and obviously these guys will cancel out each other, and we are going to be left with 2 times cosine of a times sine of b. And then again, using the same technique of c and d, we can say, well, if we write this as sine of c minus sine of d, then we can write it as 2 times cosine of c plus d over 2 times sine of c minus d over 2, and that's the value we were trying to derive. And using exact similar technique, we can derive the values of cosine of c plus cosine of d. Let me write it down. Cosine of c plus cosine of d can be written as 2 times cosine of c plus d over 2 times cosine of c minus d over 2, and for cosine of C minus cosine of D, this can be written as negative 2 times sine of C plus D over 2 times sine of C minus D over 2. And sometimes, you know, in some books or some authors might write it as 2 times. So we are bringing the negative 1 inside the second sine ratio there. So 2 times sine of C plus D over 2 times sine of, we can say this is negative C minus D over 2, because sine of negative something is equal to negative sine of something. So we are forcefully bringing this negative 1 from outside into inside of one of the sine ratios, and then this can be written as 2 times sine of C plus D over 2 times sine of D minus C over 2. Think about it. Negative C minus D is equivalent to D minus C. So that's exactly what we wrote. So those are the two formula for cosine. I hope everything made sense. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.